listening to Home Wizards. I'm Cindy Dole.
Hey, I'm Eric Stromer.
And, it's probably not on the top of your list to do something with your doorbell. But have you ever done something to make the doorbell button look a little more attractive?
Well, see, now here in Los Angeles, all these homes that I've remodeled over the last 25 years, I've seen some beautiful old homes from the 20s and 30s, and they really used to honor doorbell design. It was really part of the design sensibility. It usually is kind of the last thing you think about, but back in those days, it really felt like that was a place where you could find ornate, beautiful expressions of entering the house.
It is. It's almost like it's a piece of jewelry.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, it's almost like the ring on your hand. If the house is your whole body, the doorbell's like your ring. It's really, I think they're beautiful.
I think that's a great comparison.
And so now I think they're de-emphasized a little bit. And what happens
homogenized almost, aren't they?
Yeah, and what happens is that they, the transformers go out on them, after 40 years or so. And I've done a lot of replacement of old doorbells to new ones. And the good news is that you don't have to necessarily repair what you used to have, but they now sell chimes, essentially, that are wireless. And so you can amend anything that you used to have with one of these new systems. So what happens is that you just replace the old button with a new button, and then there's a wireless transformer that goes in another part of the house, maybe further back in the living area, and they communicate wirelessly. And
everything does.
You
right?
can change all the tones of them. You can program. There's now something that has an MP3 player.
Oh, I know.
What's it called? The Doorbell or something?
In fact, it is called the Doorbell.
Right.
And what's so cool about it is you can, if you're like a real, sports nut, you can have your favorite sports team or university theme song or movie clip or,
da 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 da. When they ring the bell, it's awesome.
Or any kind of a cartoon clip or a commercial or seasonal sounds. You could have the sound of just waves or
or even during Halloween. Yeah, what? I'm sorry.
That's my dolphin.
Fantastic. God, that's good. Yeah,
that was my flipper.
There's a dolphin in the studio, everyone.
Yeah.
So you can also during Halloween program it to have scary sort of Vincent Price voices.
So that's the audible part. But what about for the visual part? So help us. I mean, I thought it'd be fun if we could swap out the boring button and make it have some kind of a little pizzazz.
Sure, and again, depending on your design style, like if you've got a really mod house, you're not going to put some Spanish.
Well, we don't want a
thing.
dolphin on our doorbell, the actual physical dolphin.
Yeah,
you want unless you live by the sea.
That's
maybe
right.
you got like a nautical theme. Yeah. What were you going to say? The what?
I was going to say that you want to keep just like with your consistency with your roofing design,
the architecture,
you're going to want to always have something that kind of relates to itself. So it's not if you have an old English Tudor, you don't want like a Spanish looking thing. You want to keep it all in the same design sensibility.
Like a chili pepper. You wouldn't want a chili pepper.
No, on an English house.
Because they have some pretty, frilly and silly almost little doorbell surrounds. Everything from pineapples to, Gothic to, frogs. They even have eyeballs where, when you push in the bell, it looks like you're pushing into someone's eyeball.
Yeah, it can go whimsical, it can go classic, but a good place to start if you have a house that's maybe, dating back before the 50s. Mm-hmm. They have a lot of these amazing sort of reclaimed hardware stores.
Awesome idea.
And in your town, you may want to just Google that, like, reclaimed hardware or used hardware, something like that.
That's a great idea.
And they sell those all the time.
Something vintagey, right?
Vintage stuff, yeah.
So it has a historical significance.
Yes.
And maybe it just needs a little polish, or maybe it already looks great as it is.
Yeah, and you can amend the original switch with these new transmitters.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually use the new doorbell but put the plate over the old one. So it ends up looking really pretty. But I wouldn't suggest getting into a complete rewire of an old bell because it's going to end up costing you a lot more money just in labor to do that versus just doing these new systems, which I think can be a lot less expensive. So give that a look and get out there and give it a try. Yeah, so it's again, what do you want design-wise? Do you want to have a crazy, sunshine on your door and make that become like, a fun, whimsical thing?
A koala bear,
That's right.
And this is like the belly button of the koala bear. Some of this stuff can be kind of silly and kitschy. It just, I guess it depends on your taste and your home style or even your apartment style, right? Any of that.
Right.
But I think that if you do take a look at your front entryway, there is something to be said about making that just be a personal statement. And I think that when company comes over, it just welcomes them in. It makes you feel great and invigorated because now you realize, hey, this is my home. And isn't that cool? Right?
Right. And I think oftentimes, we underestimate the power of the front door area, and I think it can all work seamlessly together if you honor all the different elements. So a beautiful front door, great pottery on either side, or bushes or flowers as you come up, and then a great mailbox, really cool address numbers that are superimposed on the door as well. And then the final thing, obviously, is the doorbell, which can really be just an extra little bling, like a cufflink, if you will, something that really kind of stands out.
And even maybe a door knocker. I think the door knockers. If you're not going, you don't want to over accessorize. It's almost like getting dressed. You don't want to have too many things going on. Well, unless you're Lady Gaga. I guess then you can go there.
That's right.
A little too much. But, so I think that if you go with, and think of the finish, too. Is it going to be more solid bronzy? Right. Is it going to be kind of rustic? Is it going to be, gold finish, right? You want it to match.
And you always want to unify all those elements. The same holds true with flooring. If you've got 15 different floors in your house, it ends up looking chopped up.
Like a patchwork quilt?
Yeah, so if you're going to do any of the metals on the outside, when it comes to the mailbox tone, the doorbell color, the knocker color, the hardware of the door itself, it should all be relatively close in texture and polish and finish.
And there's a bunch of websites to get ideas, by the way. I've been checking it out. There's one called Craft Home, another called Companies Coming, very clever websites, or Doorbell Factory, and another one called Door Knockers and Bells. And they have some really great doorbell buttons, and they've divided it out by styles and finishes and themes, and so you kind of get a look, a good overview.
And also, when you are doing your research or looking around or poking around for new hardware that may be vintage or antique, you're going to find some amazing craftsmen at these different stores that can be referred. And these guys will come and amend what you already have and make it new, or dual glazed glass to customize it, because a lot of these old doors aren't as efficient as the new ones. So oftentimes I think it's really beautiful just to take some old thing that you have, strip a front door, strip all the brass on the the finishes of the hinges and the doorknob and the doorbell itself, and kind of just give reference and reverence to that old architectural style. Don't throw it out and buy some new plastic thing when you can have something beautiful and artistic.
If you go to this other website, we were surfing around, and there's one called OddE, so the word odd and then double-E.com, and they found some very bizarre and creative doorbell buttons. Everything from the enter button on your computer, how on your
like return or something.
Yeah, exactly. So like they cut out that enter button, and that is the doorbell button.
That's funny. That'd be great on a modern home. That'd be really cool.
Or like where it looks like it's a piano. They have a few little piano keys, and that is the doorbell. Or people can customize it, but if you really want to get nuts and go creative, you can go that route too.
Yeah, and then there's also like pull chain doorbells, which are really cool, or even bells. Like real legitimate bells with a pull chain. That's kind of a cute little idea, a change on things, and it's not. It's not mod, but it's just got that nice vintage feel again.
And the thing about this is that it's inexpensive, it's doable, and it's going to give your front entryway a facelift, and it'll make you feel like you've done something to improve your entryway in this space you call home,
Yeah.
So go for it, and just go to the website, yourhomewizards.com, and you'll see all these ideas up there, and email us, let us know the things that you want to hear and what you're up to, all right? Make sure you do something to improve the spaces you call home, because there's so much you can do. Little things always, I think, make the most sense.
They sure do.
They are always the big things, but little ones are good. Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. Until next time, remember this: the key is under the mat. Bye-bye.
I'll light the fire while you place the flowers in the vase that you bought today.